During the paternal society, they were representatives of the adult community, highly respected grade and high school teachers, admired presidents and senators, Eleanor Roosevelts and Madame Curie's. There were priests untouched by scandal, older men and women in each community, both visible and capable of renunciation, who drew young people over the line by their example. But envy and the habit of ingratitude have ended all that. The hope lies in the longing we have to become adults. If we take an interest in younger ones by helping them find a mentor, by bringing them along to conferences and other adult activities, by giving attention to young ones not in our family at all, then our own feeling of being adult will be augmented. And adulthood might again appear to be a desirable state for many young ones. See, they look and they see talk shows, they see adults on talk shows, they say, who would want to become one of them? Young people used to, really respect adults. Say, gee, I want to become one. Dad, when can I be an adult? No, they say, I'd rather be anything than you. In the sibling society, due to the enormous power of the leveling process, few adults, as we have mentioned, remain publicly visible as models. Because they're invisible, the very idea of the adult has fallen into confusion. As ordinary adults, we have to ask ourselves, in a way that people 200 years did not, what an adult is. I have to ask myself what I have found out in my intermittent poem-ridden attempts to become an adult. Someone who has succeeded better than I could name a few more qualities of the adults than I can, but I'll give a few. I would say that an adult is a person not governed by what we call pre-Oedipal wishes that demands for immediate pleasure, comfort, and excitement. An adult is someone who is able to live without excitement. That doesn't mean boring, not at all. In that book called The Soul is Here for Its Own Joy, I found a poem by an old Indian who says, I hope that your cheeks will grow paler and paler, and your desire for excitable life will grow pale with it. An adult is someone who goes out and gathers jewels of feeling for others. That's what he's got in that poem. Doesn't encourage people for excitement, goes out and gathers jewels of feeling for others. I like it very much. An adult is able to recognize the random emotions and events of his or her life and organize them into a memory, a rough meaning, or a story. If you go to an adult in a Native American community and start to talk to them, they've already decided what the story of their life means. They know it's a story. And so we have to learn to do that too. That means you got to learn to love a story, and then you got to learn to love your own story. So when the kids came, what is your life about? And I'll tell you what it's about. And that gives them a lot of hope. That their ridiculous-looking adult actually, has figured out that something important happened at a certain time that was that thing, and then there was that thing, and that was that thing. And I know that my kids used to, the only way I'd ever get them to clean the barn was to agree to tell them stories of when I was in high school. And then they'd do it for hours. I had to make most of it up because I didn't do anything in high school. But it's an adult perception to understand that the world belongs primarily to the dead and we only rent it from them for a little while. They created it, they wrote its literature and its songs, and they are deeply invested in how children are treated. Because the children are the ones who will keep it going. The idea that each of us has the right to change everything is a deep insult to the dead. The true adult is the one who has been able to preserve his or her intensities, including the intensities proper to his or her generation, so that he or she has something with which to meet the intensities of the adolescent. Isn't that right? When the adults get wild, the parents look away, and then they call the school and say, would you get a school psychiatrist for this kid? There again, you see, they're allowing experts to come in between themselves and the children. And it's better to take your cut and say, do you think this is wild? Come with me, I'll show you what wildness is. And kids, oh God, I don't want to. But, we can't remain passive. As adults, we have a permission to be passive, which is encouraged by television. That's going to kill all the kids. It says that each one of us needs to learn how not to be passive, how to cause trouble in the house, how to interfere with everything they want to do, how to give them jobs at the exact time they don't want to do it. And then tell I'm going to bust your goddamn VCR unless you do it right now. You know, things like that they can understand. And that don't make you a nice person. Around 1962, there was a man named Jules Henry who wrote a wonderful book. And he began interviewing high schools in America in 1962. And one of the things he noticed is that when he talked to the students, what they thought was good was when their parents let them do things, and bad was when they didn't let them. That was the standard of values. And the parents fell into that. And so you had fathers who became pals to their children. That's better than being Hitler. And yet there's something wrong with fathers being pals to their sons, let's say. I don't know how many sons I met who said, listen, I couldn't stand that. I mean, he's just another kid. I wanted to have an adult. Am I saying anything to you? And I remember doing that. I tried to be a pal to my children because it's a plague, it's a disease. And I wasn't really the type, and so eventually I reverted. But they were much happier when I reverted. So this is the way it's going to be.